Pyroclastic flows are superheated mixtures of gas and volcanic matter that can travel at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. These flows typically reach temperatures between 400 and 1300 degrees Fahrenheit, instantly incinerating most organic material in their path. Volcanic gases like sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide create toxic atmospheres that can cause rapid asphyxiation. The combination of extreme heat, suffocating gases, and projectile debris creates what volcanologists call a kill zone, with near-zero survival probability. Unlike slower lava flows, pyroclastic surges move with the force and speed of an avalanche, but with far greater thermal energy. Historical eruptions like Mount Vesuvius and Mount Pelée demonstrated how entire populations could be preserved in ash within moments. Modern monitoring systems can detect volcanic unrest, but eruptions in remote jungle regions often provide minimal warning time. The documented survivors case represents an extreme statistical anomaly in volcanic fatality records. Volcanic eruptions release pyroclastic flows, deadly mixtures of hot gas, ash, and rock that can travel at speeds over 100 kilometers per hour. These flows typically follow topography, moving through valleys and low-lying areas where they gain destructive momentum. The individual recognized that volcanic geology creates natural barriers and protected zones. Instead of attempting to outrun the eruption horizontally, they moved perpendicular to the flow's expected path. This strategy utilized elevation changes and geological features as natural shields against the advancing material. The dense rainforest environment in tropical volcanic regions offers additional protection through natural cover. Understanding volcanic behavior patterns allowed for this survival approach rather than conventional evacuation methods. This case demonstrates how geological knowledge can provide alternatives when traditional escape isn't possible. The geologist's training provided a crucial advantage. He could interpret subtle changes in the landscape that others might miss. Volcanic rock formations contain valuable information about past eruptions, including their frequency and intensity. Mountains that have been dormant for decades can reawaken when magma chambers beneath them become pressurized. Increased seismic activity typically precedes volcanic eruptions as magma forces its way toward the surface. Gas emissions often escalate before eruptions as dissolved gases escape from rising magma. In volcanic emergencies, primary escape routes can become blocked by landslides, pyroclastic flows, or lava. Geologists working in active volcanic zones typically have emergency protocols for rapid evacuation. The speed of volcanic escalation can vary dramatically, from gradual warnings over weeks to sudden events within hours. He was alone, miles from the nearest outpost, facing one of nature's most powerful forces. We can break down his survival into a few critical, verified points. First, recognition and acceptance. He didn't dismiss the early warning signs. This initial step is crucial in many survival scenarios, where denial can prove fatal. The ability to accurately assess a deteriorating situation forms the foundation for all subsequent decisions. In wilderness emergencies, this cognitive shift from normalcy to crisis mode must happen quickly. This pattern appears consistently across documented cases of successful survival against natural threats. The individual's specialized training in volcanology enabled them to recognize specific warning signs. Increasing seismic tremors and changes in the volcanic plume's composition signal an imminent major eruption. These precursors are well-documented indicators in volcanology, similar to patterns observed before other historic eruptions. Recognizing the immediate danger, the person aborted their original mission entirely. Their sole objective shifted from exploration to pure survival as the main eruption commenced. The eruption sent pyroclastic flows, deadly clouds of superheated ash and debris, cascading down the mountain slopes. Attempting to flee through the dense, surrounding jungle was not a viable escape route. The terrain would have slowed movement drastically, making escape from the fast-moving volcanic hazards impossible. This created a critical survival dilemma, forcing a rapid decision about where to seek shelter. Lava tubes form when molten rock flows beneath a hardened crust, creating natural underground tunnels. These geological features can stretch for miles and remain stable for centuries after volcanic activity ceases. The entrance discovered was likely a collapse feature, where the tube's roof weakened and gave way. Such openings provide access to environments that maintain constant temperatures year-round. Lava tube interiors often contain unique mineral formations and preserve geological records. These subterranean spaces can be completely dark, with no natural light penetrating beyond the entrance. The discovery of accessible lava tubes allows for geological study without extensive excavation. Similar formations exist in volcanic regions worldwide, from Hawaii to Iceland's cave systems. Lava tubes, formed by flowing molten rock, are not inherently stable shelters. Their ceilings can collapse without warning, and they often contain toxic gases like carbon dioxide or hydrogen sulfide. Wildlife, including insects, rodents, or even larger animals, may already inhabit these spaces. A thorough assessment of structural integrity is critical before entering any section. The chosen location was away from the entrance to avoid external hazards, but maintained airflow to prevent gas buildup. Equipment was used to create a physical barrier at the tube's mouth. This barrier served to block drifting volcanic ash and radiated heat from the outside environment. Such methods are standard in survival scenarios to create create a controlled, temporary refuge. The immediate cataclysm was the most dangerous phase, with pyroclastic surges and falling ejecta scouring the surface. Pyroclastic surges are fast-moving currents of hot gas and volcanic matter that can reach temperatures over 1,000 degrees Celsius. Inside the tube, the rock provided crucial insulation from the extreme external heat. This natural shelter also protected from falling ejecta, fragments of rock and volcanic material propelled into the air. Survival now depended on enduring both the initial eruption and its immediate aftermath. Such protective geological formations have been documented in other volcanic events, offering temporary refuge. The volcanic tube plunged into near total darkness, a common hazard in such environments where light sources are critical for survival. The constant, low-frequency rumble of the ongoing eruption created a disorienting sensory environment, masking other potential dangers. In low-lying sections of the tube, heavier than air gases like carbon dioxide or hydrogen sulfide could accumulate, creating invisible, potentially lethal pockets. Conserving limited light sources, such as flashlights or headlamps, became a primary survival strategy to extend visibility over an unknown duration. Monitoring breathing patterns and rate helped assess air quality and control panic, a standard practice in confined space survival situations. Remaining stationary minimized energy expenditure and reduced the risk of injury or disorientation in the unstable, dark environment. The decision to stay put lasted through the violent phase of the eruption, a period of several hours where surface conditions were most hazardous. Even after the main eruption subsided, immediate emergence was avoided, as residual hazards like falling debris or toxic gases often persist. The outside environment remained lethal, blanketed in hot volcanic ash and potentially contaminated by lingering toxic gases. This ash layer, composed of fine rock particles and glass shards, can reach temperatures exceeding 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Toxic gases like sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide often persist after eruptions, creating invisible hazards. He waited until environmental sensors or visible indicators suggested reduced immediate danger. This cautious delay follows standard volcanic survival protocols to avoid pulmonary burns or asphyxiation. When he finally emerged, the landscape had undergone complete transformation. What was once familiar terrain now appeared as a uniform gray wasteland, still emitting heat. This smoldering effect occurs when buried organic material or hot subsurface layers continue to burn. Such rapid environmental alteration is characteristic of pyroclastic flows, which can reshape geography in minutes. The complete obscuration of landmarks creates severe disorientation for survivors navigating the aftermath. The survivor's journey through the ash-covered landscape required navigating unfamiliar, hazardous terrain. This phase tested physical endurance through difficult environmental conditions rather than supernatural elements. The altered terrain presented navigation challenges similar to those faced in other disaster scenarios. It's important to clarify what this event was not. It was not a spontaneous excavation attempt. This distinction separates the event from common misconceptions about similar survival situations. The endurance required was physical and psychological, not supernatural in nature. Understanding these limits helps contextualize the survivor's experience within realistic parameters. The journey through altered terrain represents a documented pattern in post-disaster survival scenarios. The shelter was not a random discovery, but a pre-existing geological formation. This solid structure provided inherent protection that could not be easily replicated by human construction alone. Specialized knowledge in geology or survival was crucial for recognizing the shelter's potential. This expertise allowed for proper utilization of the natural structure, transforming it from mere rock into a functional refuge. Such cases demonstrate how specialized training can mean the difference between survival and tragedy in extreme situations. There are significant limits to public knowledge about survival scenarios and geological safety. This knowledge gap highlights why professional expertise remains essential in dangerous environments. The combination of natural structures and human knowledge creates optimal survival conditions that neither could achieve alone. The individual's identity and exact location remain undisclosed, respecting his personal wishes for privacy. This deliberate omission means the full psychological impact and precise timeline of his confinement are not documented in scientific literature. Survival in such extreme conditions involves complex physiological mechanisms, including thermal regulation and oxygen conservation. It is critical to note that this account should not be viewed as a universal survival guide for volcanic eruptions. For the vast majority of people, the only proven strategies are following official evacuation routes and heeding early warnings from authorities. This highlights a broader pattern in disaster response. Individual anomalies exist, but systematic preparedness saves lives. The account demonstrates the supreme value of domain-specific knowledge in survival situations. Specialized training transformed a landscape of hazards into a landscape of potential resources. This perspective shift represents a fundamental survival principle, seeing environments through the lens of utility rather than danger. The lava tube example illustrates this principle clearly. To an untrained observer, it might appear as just another cave formation, but with specific knowledge, it becomes a validated shelter type against particular volcanic threats. This knowledge includes understanding which volcanic hazards the structure can withstand and which it cannot. The practical insight lies in applying specialized understanding to recognize opportunities where others see only risks. The strategy of protective positioning involves creating a barrier between yourself and a threat when escape is impossible. In volcanic environments, this principle can mean seeking refuge within the volcano's own ancient conduit, or lava tube. This approach demonstrates applied science and calm reasoning under extreme pressure rather than panic. Similar protective positioning strategies are used in various natural disasters beyond volcanic events. The volcanic conduit provides natural insulation from extreme heat and falling debris during an eruption. This case study highlights how understanding geological formations can inform survival strategies. The decision-making process in such situations requires assessing available options quickly and accurately. Human resilience in extreme environments often depends on both knowledge and psychological composure.